Well, hello. Hi, Joan. Hi, everybody who's watching. My love to you all. This is a special message for Joan on her 90th birthday from her nephew, Ted Bell. When you get this message, I'll be up on a mountain in the Lake District near Derwentwater with two crazy pals, Dave Embry and Chris Baker. Unfortunately, this had all been arranged and paid for before news of your event occurred. Hence this message. Thinking about what I would say to you has been a really wonderful experience. Though you may not realise it, Joan, you and Tom have played a very important part in my life. At a time when things were hard at home, not long after the end of the war, and my mum and dad were starting a very demanding business, I got to meet you and Tom from Madeley. You came with very good references from my own mother, who told me what good people you were from a childhood, really, and how well she particularly thought of you, Joan. She was very, very fond of you. I think that being married to a Bell, as you were, she realised what a special brand of courage and ingenuity was required, as of course it still is. We Bell men are not easy, but I think we do give very good value for money. So it was from the early 50s then that you and Tom became my lifelong friends, and I soon looked upon you as a second mother and father. Whenever I saw you or we had contact, I always got an invite up, and it's in connection with this that I recall my first memorable instance. About 1955, still a young man then, I thought I would like to come for a holiday, and so Mum said she would arrange it all for me. I duly packed my little case and got a lift to Corby, and then hitchhiked up the A5 and all the way to the Potteries and eventually Madeley. I arrived in mid-afternoon to find you, Joan, washing up in the kitchen. Hardly turning round, you said in passing, "Hello, Teddy, how are you? Uncle Tom's in the living room." It was no big deal, but nevertheless a warm hello. I went into the room and Tom, who was reading the paper, said, "Put your cases over there, lad, and sit down and we'll get a cup of tea." Then followed the usual update on family life and questions about school, when after about half an hour the doorbell rang. You went to the door and after a moment or two shouted, "It's a telegram, Tom." You gave the message to Tom, who opened it and said, "Ah, it's from Bert and Thora. Teddy's coming up to stay for a week." And you both laughed. The point to make is, you didn't even know I was coming, and you didn't bat an eyelid when I did arrive. It was all just part of the day's work. That's how it always was, Joan. It was as if I lived there all the time, and it just wasn't for me. Many other members of the family enjoyed your freely given hospitality over the years. I remember particularly how good you were to our lost cousin Dee Dee when she was seemingly abandoned by her family. I often wonder whatever happened to her, and I bet you do as well. Do you remember taking me to the local pub when I was a little bit older, of course? Tom wasn't much bothered with pubs, but you liked a drink and a game of darts as well. I remember both going to the local Madeley pub near your mum and dad's place, and also going to Silverdale with the ladies' darts team one night. You threw a mean arrow in those days, didn't you? Then, of course, there was Marion Payne. I think that was her name anyway. Her dad was in Victor Sylvester's band or some such thing, and you fixed me up with a date. I wasn't much good with girls in those days, being more interested in fishing and guns. Probably the right priorities. But nevertheless, Marion and I went to Newcastle with all her little friends on the bus to a dance in a great ballroom with a big revolving globe in the middle. I didn't do particularly well that night, being rather shy. Can you imagine that, me shy? I met your mum and dad at the post office on several occasions, really. I think their name and yours before marriage was Morris, wasn't it? I hope I got that right. They were lovely people, and I went there several times when I visited. Talking about fishing earlier reminds me of the hours I spent with with Tom and with Kelvin and Adrian fishing in the marl hole behind Wharf Terrace. That was great, and I enjoyed going there, and also enjoyed going shooting with Tom, which I did a couple of times near Onley. One thing, of course, that stayed with me all these years is the gardening thing. Tom gave me his great enthusiasm for it when I stayed with you, and also later when I used to visit you at Norton every Thursday after my Radio Stoke broadcast. After the show I used to pop up and see you both, and Tom would always send me away with half a dozen lovely plants. I certainly had the best garden in Heath Drive, Stafford, and of course I carried on the tradition in Linton and Rosliston, that's when we had the small holding, and now in Poston Road. Though you'll be pleased to know I got a gold award last year with the Burton Brighter Bloom. All because really of you and Tom. What memories, Joan. I'll never forget how welcoming you were and what a wonderful person you are. You've brought so much pleasure into your own life through family and through the lives of others you've known. As a result, you've got a family second to none, with loving children, grandchildren, and now great-grandchildren. And here you are today, 90 years old and fit as a flea. What a great achievement for a lovely lady. Well then, Joan, I just want to say happy birthday from Claire and from me, and from all our family, both in Burton and Peterborough, who've met you over the years, and from those who have not met you, but know you because they've heard about you from Claire and I. I'd like to also bring you a special happy birthday from Vivian, who's now in Madagascar, doing what she does best, looking after those less well off and bringing love and care to them as you've done for so many people in your life. I want you to have a great day with your family, who I personally feel so very close to. Goodbye, and God bless you, Joan. And goodbye to all of you, and goodbye from me.